Jessica Lange is an award-winning American actress best known for her roles in King Kong, Tootsie, Grey Gardens and American Horror Story, among many other projects. Jessica Lange is an American actress born on April 20, 1949 in Cloquet, Minnesota. Working as a model, she was chosen to star in the mega-hit film King Kong, 1976. In 1982, she received a Best Actress Academy Award nomination for the film Frances and won a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for Tootsie. She later won another Oscar, this time in the Best Actress category, for her performance in 1994's Blue Sky. Lange has received an array of accolades for additional projects like A Streetcar Named Desire, 1995, 1,000 Acres, 1997, Normal, 2003, Grey Gardens, 2009, An American Horror Story, 2012, and received the first Tony of her career in 2016 for the Broadway revival of Long Day's Journey into Night. Jessica Phyllis Lange was born on April 20, 1949, in Cloquet, Minnesota. The third of 4 children, Lange was the daughter of Dorothy Florence and Albert John Lange, who was an educator and salesman. As a child, Lange's family moved constantly due to her father's frequently changing jobs. Lange later noted that her family lived like gypsies. But instead of rebelling against this transient lifestyle, Lange inherited the travel bug. By the time she enrolled as an art student at the University of Minnesota in 1967, she had big dreams of seeing the world. In the spring of 1968, before she had finished her freshman year, Jessica met and fell in love with 24-year-old photography professor Paco Grande. Lange and Grande left school and traveled throughout the US and Europe. They lived mostly out of Grande's van, and Lange met many of Grande's friends within the film community. They returned to Minnesota briefly in July 1970, where they were married. The newlyweds moved to New York, eventually settling into the Soho art community. Grande continued to work on film projects and Jessica, inspired by French cinema, made the decision to study mime. In 1971, Lange moved to Paris to study mime with teacher Etienne Decroux. Her 2 years of education with Decroux sparked an interest in acting, and she returned to New York in 1973 to pursue a film career. During her time abroad, Lange's marriage to Paco Grande had deteriorated. Grande left Jessica in New York, where she started working as a waitress and model with the Wilhelmina agency in order to make ends meet. In the fall of 1975, film producer Dino De Laurentiis contacted Lange's modeling agency looking for an actress to star in his new King Kong movie. An agent at Wilhelmina recommended Lange for the part. After a Hollywood screen test, she landed the role. King Kong hit theaters in 1976, and was a box office hit. Reviews for Lange, however, were largely negative, and focused on the fact that Lange was a former model. Although she had signed a 7-year acting contract with De Laurentiis, Lange did not work for 3 years following King Kong's release. During this time, Lange met Russian dancer Mikhail Baryshnikov, and the two began dating. In 1979, director and choreographer Bob Fosse, a close friend, gave Lange another shot at acting when he wrote a part especially for her in his autobiographical film, All That Jazz. The movie centered on womanizing dancer Joe Gideon, played by Roy Scheider, who is coming to grips with mortality. Lange played the angel of death in Gideon's fantasy world. The role was panned by critics, but brought the actress back to the attention of Hollywood. The next year, she landed a lead role in the comedy How to Beat the High Cost of Living. But it was her lead role starring across from Jack Nicholson as Cora in the remake of the 1940s classic The Postman Always Rings Twice, 1981, that got the attention of critics and viewers. Lange's performance earned rave reviews, and audiences loved her. She was finally on her way to stardom. That same year, Lange gave birth to her and Baryshnikov's first and only child together, daughter Alexandra. The next year proved to be a momentous one for Lange. Her performance in the biopic Frances, in which she portrayed actress Frances Farmer, earned her a Best Actress Academy Award nomination. It was on the set of Frances that Lange met playwright and actor Sam Shepard. As her relationship with Baryshnikov unraveled, Lange and Shepard fell in love. They moved in together later that year. That same year she also won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in the comedy Tootsie, 1982, CO starring Dustin Hoffman and Terry Garr. No actress had been nominated twice in 1 year since Teresa Wright in 1942. Lange was finally coming into her own as an A-list actress. Lange continued to shine in performances throughout the 80s and 90s in films such as Sweet Dreams, 1984, Music Box, 1989, and Men Don't Leave, 1990. In 1994, she won another Academy Award, this time for Best Actress in the drama Blue Sky, 1994, opposite Tommy Lee Jones. Lange continued to dazzle viewers in 1995 in dramas such as Losing Isaiah, with Halle Berry, and Rob Roy, starring Liam Neeson. That same year, her performance as Blanche Dubois in the television adaptation of the Tennessee Williams play A Streetcar Named Desire, 1995, CO starring Alec Baldwin, earned her a Golden Globe and an Emmy Award nomination. In 1997, critics acknowledged Lange's acting talents again in the film A Thousand Acres, for which she would earn a Golden Globe nod. She ended the decade starring as Tamora, the Queen of the Goths, in the 1999 Julie Taymor adaptation of Titus, based on the play by William Shakespeare. In 2003, Lange's performance as Irma Applewood, the spouse of a transgender woman, in the film Normal earned her nominations for an Emmy and a Golden Globe. Lange then performed alongside actor Bill Murray in the 2005 independent film Broken Flowers. In addition to her acting work, Lange has also developed her craft as a photographer.